What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today is actually going to be something we haven't done before. It's going to be soap making. So we actually do make our own soaps here. It's fairly simplistic, and I love being able to only have 3, 4, 5 ingredients inside of our soap. We are going to be using lye, also known as sodium hydroxide. We're going to be using caustic soda. This is a 2-pound container I have. I got it for like 25 to 30 bucks off Amazon. But that'll last a really, really long time. Um, what we use, so I guess getting started, it's important to note different oils have different soap making qualities. Now, for me personally, the first time I ever made soap, I used just straight up coconut oil. Not only is that not financially sustainable, just because coconut oil costs so much, but you see, this is the coconut oil I tend to use right here. But one of those cut with some olive oil makes it go a lot further. And we also use a lot less lye, I feel, compared to the last time I made coconut oil. I could be wrong, so don't quote that. So just getting started, what we did is we collected all, like I said, all of our materials. We had the sodium hydroxide and then the coconut oil and then the olive oil. So I used all three of these. I also added some herbs from the garden. So everyone has their own unique recipe and way of doing things. For ease, I basically just heated all the herbs that I had gotten from the garden, stripped out any stems. That way it wouldn't hurt whenever you were actually using the bar. And I just kind of, you actually have to heat the oil. I mean, you don't have to. I've done it without it. But I feel like it traces a little bit better, and I like the final product a little bit more whenever I kind of heat the oil. So I just basically I had a burner, like a little Bunsen burner. No, hot plate. I had a hot plate with a pot. We put the oil in there after I weighed it, because it is for those of you that don't know, soap making is done by weight. So I would have a scale if I were you, and some different bowls. We didn't use any special materials. We used everything you already have at home, essentially. 1 second, and I will grab. Yeah. So this is actually some of the final soap. It's very rough. It's like a rough draft. My significant other has not seen the soap that I've made yet, or she's seen this, but she's not seen me make soap before. So we're barely starting to get into it all together in the homestead, but it is something I've done before. It's very simplistic. Honestly, the biggest part for me was finding a website that actually all you got to do is go on Google or Bing or Yahoo or really any search engine and just Google lye soap calculator. Let's see if I can pull one up for you real quick. I'm going to pause this and then I'll pull it back up. All right, so basically what I like to use is a website called, I believe it's Brambleberry, so it's BRAMBLEBERRY.com. They do not sponsor me. I just really like their site. They actually, let's see if we can see this. Oh, no. Let's try this again. How's that? That's still too bright. And let's try. Boom. There you go. Lye calculator. They also have a fragrance calculator. I'm not really interested in that. But the cool part is all you have to do is insert your information of what you have. So under type, you get to choose either solid or liquid. So I chose solid. I prefer solid soaps. And then you choose how you're going to calculate it. Do you want to do it by percentage, grams, ounces? We chose grams. And then also you have a super fatting level that you can decide. Now the super fatting level can technically be up to like 20%, I believe is what I read. What super fatting is for those of you that don't know, super fatting is so when you mix your lye and your water into the soap, it actually it bonds with the oil. Now, if you have too much lye, there are negative effects because there's too much lye. So if it's not bonded with the oil, it's still active lye that you'd be rubbing on your skin essentially, which would be harmful. So people have a super fatting level, which kind of helps keep the oil above the lye. That way you don't have as much possibility of having too much lye. And also there's just some free oils in there that are not bonded to any lye to, make a nice, sudsy soap in some cases. Um, so yeah, basically you just enter your information of what the different oils you want, and it calculates exactly how many grams of lye and water you want. And then from there, it's really easy. So like I said, we took the oil. Basically, I use coconut oil for two main reasons. Coconut oil, whenever put into soap, actually produces a really sudsy soap, and it also is great for cleaning. It's a deep clean. I also read that it can actually help strip the skin, so it may be good. We may actually use a heavier coconut oil and an exfoliation bar that we're looking into making later on. And then olive oil is just a great cutting agent, just a base. It's wonderful to use. A lot of people actually use olive oil and only say not to use more than 10% of the coconut oil, but I use 50-50. The olive oil is when placed into a soap tends to help from what I was reading help with hydration of the skin. So while the coconut oil would help strip the skin of oils, the olive oil here would help repair everything that the olive oil took off. So it would be a nice 50-50 all around, all purpose, just body soap. And like I said, we used rosemary and lavender herbs, the leaves inside of it. I weighed everything out, all of the oil, placed it into the pot, started warming it with the leaves while I was cleaning and then prepping the lye and water. So I weighed out the lye, and then I weighed out the water in separate bowls, and then I mixed them together by pouring the water into the lye, and then I mixed it thoroughly. Now, as soon as you mix the lye and the water, it's immediately going to begin to start heating. And when it does, it's going to get very hot. Do not get this on you. Make sure you have proper airflow. Make sure you're wearing gloves. It wouldn't hurt to wear an apron. This can damage and harm things. So it's lye. It's drain cleaner. But we got the 100% food grade. Don't go buy drain cleaner from the store. There are toxic metals and things present. This is highly filtered. This is for soap making. So anywho, once the lye water was no longer I'm gonna say smoking. I don't know exactly what the word is. It's like when you heat up water and you can see the steam. Steam. There you go. Once the steam kind of resided a little bit, I mixed the now hot oil and hot water and lye together, and I put it in like a little a pan, and I just took a whisk that I had, and I mixed it. Just mixed it, mixed it, mixed it, mixed it, mixed it. You do that until you develop what's called trace. Trace is whenever you can move or stir or anything of the sort the oil mixture, and it actually leaves something of a trail behind it. A trace that it's been there, kind of thing. Whenever you mix oil, yes, you will see it move, but when you develop a trace, it's gonna be very stagnant and slow. It's not gonna be as I believe viscous is the word I'm looking for, and loose. Like I said, it's going to really start to thicken up. Now, I've done it in a tray before. This was my first batch using an old milk carton, actually. So what we did is we took the standard half-gallon milk cartons with the carbon paper, like they're like a paper. They have like a wax inside. So what I did is I opened up the top. I just kind of unfolded it like the milk carton, and I put the soap that had now achieved trace into that, and then I took a towel just like this, and I actually wrapped it around the carton and then folded the top over. What that does is that helps maintain heat. So the slower that it cools down, I found that the better quality product it tends to have. So I basically let that sit for about 24 hours. So yesterday morning, I went and I used a piece of wire. I've tried other things, but the wire really seems to work best. Um, we have tried file like the metal pieces of file cabinets and stuff, and all of that works, but not quite like the wire. Um, so I just took like some standard slick wire, and I wrapped it around my hands. I had some socks on my hands to cushion it, and then you could just push down, and it just slices it. And that's how we ended up with this. So this is only about 36 to 48 hours old. I do all this while I'm at work and other things, kind of like an in-between project. So basically, what's happening right now is we're giving the soap time to cure. So we've made the soap. We let it sit for 24 hours. We ripped off the milk carton. We cut it, and then we place it in random stacks to where you can get maximum airflow through all the pieces that you're going to be using. And that's what's happening now. And that just gives it cure time. So generally, people give it 3 to 4 weeks before they begin to use the soap. And it just allows it to really harden. All the extra water that's in there can evaporate, and it'll just kind of solidify in that, the oils for the soap. And it'll help it last longer. Make sure all the lye's been, bonded and everything else. I believe it's called saponification is what's occurring before the cure. There are two different things. Saponification is when the excess lye is trying to finish bonding with the oil. Curing is when you're trying to harden the bar and get all the excess moisture out. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for soap making. After that, it's mostly just creativity. Finding what works for you, what works for your skin type. Just like if you were to go to the store and find different soaps. If you were to get something for oily skin, you need something that's going to strip more. You need to get a set of oils that's going to help strip, herbs to help cleanse and strip, and maybe even add in some activated charcoal. You can kind of get fancy with it. Like I said, the calculator online does the majority of the work. Soap making is very easy. Just be careful and be cautious because you are working with chemicals, and it is chemistry at the end of the day. It is a science, but it's fun. It's great, and honestly, you can have kids help you with it. It's a great introduction with chemistry. Just because, no, naturally, I would have an adult mix the lye for you. Just because it can cause such harm. But after you mix the lye, in or as you're mixing the lye, once you put the lye in the water and made your lye water, you can actually have kids touch it and show them that look like these two chemicals interacting, something common, lye and water. And here in a second, I'll actually tell y'all where lye used to come from, which is pretty cool, I think. But it heats up. So it's a pretty cool little chemistry experiment to try. Now to the history of lye. So all of us have heard back in the day when soap was discovered, they took animal fats and combined it with wood ash. Not many of us thought past it, but wood ash is where you can get lye. You can actually develop lye water fairly simplistic, through fairly simplistic measures. So traditionally, it wasn't just like the two things smashed together. What it was is you could take 55, like say a 55-gallon barrel, and obviously they didn't always have this back in the day. They made their own version of this, and fill it with wood ash, clean wood ash that you've burned yourself. Doesn't have any trash or pollutants or anything. And then you take about 1 to 5 gallons of water, depending on you personally, and you gently drip it through that barrel. You just kind of gently pour it over without really just throwing it all in. A little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Let it seep. That's the key. And then you'll have like a hole or two at the bottom, and then you'll have a bucket or a pot underneath. And then once all of that water slowly drips through, that will develop lye water. Now, traditionally, that would actually get boiled down to make a more concentrated lye water. Mix that with your oils, and now you have soap. If you don't add enough lye, what generally happens, it just doesn't bond with all of the oil. Either you can have a very oily soap, or you end up with a liquid soap, which is also pretty cool. So I mean, that's pretty much it for soap making. It doesn't have to be complex. It's only as hard as you make it. I think I spent about $50 in total. I saved up over time, $10 a month for 5 months. Boom, here we are. Um, I have enough oil. This isn't the only one I got. I actually got two of these, um, and I got one of these oils on sale. And of course, like I said, I got this for like 20 something dollars. Um, it is a great introduction. I can make a number of different batches with this, depending on how much I use of what. Technically, I can make, use just this, what's left of this, make a moisturizing soap, do different herbs and stuff for, moisturization, maybe even add in some shea butter. You can get that stuff by the bucket if you don't actually have a shea butter tree. I don't remember the name right now, but that is another option. And then these guys right here, like I said, the coconut oil, from what I understand, is very good for stripping and hardening of the bar. So you could technically use just coconut oil for an exfoliating scrub, plus other things. But do your own research. There's hundreds of different oils out there. There's so many different combinations and percentages. It's up to you, and it's just a great, fun chemistry project. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. Have a great day. Be kind out there, and we'll see you on the next one.